Okay, let's unpack this. We've all been there, right? Standing at the baggage claim,
Yeah.
waiting, maybe, hoping that suitcase appears.
That moment of truth. Yeah.
Exactly. And behind that moment, there's this incredibly complex, usually invisible system at work.
A real ballet, like you said.
Yeah. And with global air travel just climbing and climbing, you have to wonder, how do airports actually handle the sheer volume, getting millions of bags to the right place efficiently and, correctly?
That's a massive challenge.
So today, we're diving deep into those systems, the unsung heroes, maybe?
Oh, like
Global baggage
that's
handling.
really essential.
We're using insights from the Growth and Trends report by Cognitive Market Research here,
Yeah.
focusing on this really critical piece of the travel puzzle.
And it's a great place to focus because, look, this isn't just about lost luggage statistics, though that's part of it.
Right.
These systems are fundamental, truly fundamental, to how smoothly global transportation flows. When they work well, you barely even think about them.
That's the goal, I guess. Invisible efficiency.
Precisely. They cut down lost bags, they reduce delays, and they really do shape your entire travel experience right from check-in.
Okay, so our mission today is clear. We want to really get a handle on the growth, the different regional pictures, and the tech that's driving all this.
Yeah, what's making these systems tick now, and where are they heading?
Let's start with the global view then, because the numbers themselves are quite something.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2021, this market was worth about $8 billion. Solid number.
Yeah, substantial.
But here's where it gets interesting. Projections show it hitting over $10 billion by 2025.
Okay.
And then looking out to 2033, the forecast is, well, it's almost $17 billion. $16.7 billion, to be exact.
Wow, okay, so nearly doubling in what, just over a decade?
Pretty much.
Mm.
That works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of just over 6%. 6.34%, actually. Consistent growth.
Right, and that kind of growth, it doesn't just happen, does it? There are some powerful forces behind that surge.
Like what? What are the main drivers here?
Well, first, the obvious one. More people flying. Global air travel demand just keeps rising.
Sure, post-pandemic recovery and ongoing growth.
Exactly. Second, airports are investing heavily in modernization. Not just making terminals bigger, but smarter. Much smarter.
Okay.
And third, and this is crucial, it's the advancements in automation and tracking tech. That's really the game changer.
So airports becoming, what, more like logistics hubs.
That's a perfect way to put it. Think of them as these high-efficiency logistics centers. Super precise sorting and distribution, not just for people, but for every single bag.
Every bag is like a package needing tracking.
Precisely. The system needs to know exactly where it is, ideally, at every single point in its journey.
That idea of airports as logistics hubs really clicks,
Mhm.
especially with the sheer volume. But it's not just more handling, it's smarter handling, right? What tech is really making the difference?
Oh, absolutely. The tech is the invisible engine here. We're way beyond just simple conveyor belts now.
Right.
Think about things like RFID tags, like super smart barcodes on your luggage tag.
Okay, I've heard of those.
They give real-time updates, pinpoint location tracking as your bag zips through the bowels of the airport. That's the Internet of Things, IoT right there. Connecting the physical bag to the digital network.
Got it.
And then you've got AI, artificial intelligence, starting to play a bigger role.
Oh, so?
Well, AI-powered video analytics, for instance, it can spot an oversized bag instantly, maybe flag it before it causes a jam down the line.
Proactive.
Exactly. Or it can analyze flow patterns and predict potential bottlenecks in the sorting area, maybe rerouting bags before a problem even starts.
So moving from reacting to problems to actually predicting them.
That's the goal. Minimize lost bags, improve the flow, make the whole thing much more efficient. It's quite remarkable, really.
It really does change how you picture what's happening after you drop your bag off.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's look at the regional picture. Starting with North America,
Sure.
the market there is projected to hit $4.6 billion by 2033. That's a big jump from about $2.3 billion in 2021.
Doubling again, roughly.
Yeah. And the U.S. is really driving that, projected to reach almost $3.5 billion itself by 2033. A lot of that fueled by those massive upgrades at places like JFK, LAX, the big hubs.
Makes sense. Those are huge, complex operations.
Definitely. But we're also seeing good growth in Canada. Their CAGR is around 7%. And Mexico is expanding its airport infrastructure too, showing steady growth, just over 6%.
Okay, so strong performance across North America. Now, if we hop across the Atlantic to Europe,
Right. Europe.
the market there is expected to reach just under $3 billion by 2033. So a bit smaller than North America, but still significant.
And what stands out in Europe?
Well, you see rapid modernization in countries like France growing at about 6.5% annually, Italy around 6.1% standard upgrades expansions.
Okay.
But here's a really interesting bit. The rest of Europe category, think Poland, the Netherlands, others, that segment is actually growing the fastest in the region, over 7%.
Faster than France or Italy. Why is that?
It seems to point towards significant investment in regional airports, maybe fueled by EU aviation funding initiatives. It suggests growth isn't just concentrated in the mega hubs like Heathrow or Charles de Gaulle.
Ah, so a broadening of the infrastructure investment. Decentralization, almost.
Kind of. It could ease pressure on the big hubs eventually, and it definitely improves connectivity for more regions. It shows how funding policies can really shape the network.
That's a fascinating point, that decentralized growth. And it seems even more pronounced when we look at Asia Pacific, right?
Oh, absolutely. APAC is really the powerhouse in terms of growth for this market.
The numbers are huge, expected to surge from around $3.2 billion in 2021, get this, to nearly $7 billion by 2033, $6.91 billion.
Wow.
The whole region's growing at almost 6.8% annually.
So faster than the global average.
Yes, and while China and Japan are the biggest markets in size, naturally,
Right.
it's actually India and Singapore showing faster rates of growth. India's at over 7.5%, Singapore nearly 7.3%.
Investing heavily to keep up with demand and modernization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the real standout, globally in terms of growth rate, is the rest of APAC.
Okay.
Countries like Vietnam, the Philippines. That group is showing the highest KGR anywhere, almost 8.8%.
8.8%. That's massive. What does that signal?
It signals really strong, widespread investment in airport automation across many emerging economies in the region. A rapid build-out of modern travel infrastructure.
Yeah, that broad investment in automation across APAC is definitely a signpost for the whole industry globally. Okay, so where next? South America.
Let's head there. South America's market is set to reach just over $1.2 billion by 2033.
Okay, smaller scale, but still growing.
Right. And interestingly, some of the highest growth rates within that continent are in Argentina, nearly 7.8% CAGR, and the rest of South America group at 7.6%.
Higher than some major European countries, though.
Yeah, it seems to reflect growing air lengths, more investment in regional aviation, driven by, more business and tourism travel.
Expanding connectivity within the continent. Got it.
Okay, wrapping up our world tour, the Middle East and Africa. Let's start with the Middle East.
Okay.
Projected to hit around $552 million by 2033. The focus there is really concentrated around those major hubs we all know, Dubai, Doha.
The mega connectors.
Exactly. And while the overall regional growth rate might look moderate compared to, say, APAC, countries like the UAE are still growing above average, just over 6% CAGR. They just keep expanding their airports and pushing hard on adopting smart technologies. State-of-the-art experiences are key for them.
Continuous investment to maintain that hub status. Makes sense. And finally, Africa.
Africa is, well, it's really the story here in terms of sheer growth rate.
Oh, yeah.
It stands out as the fastest growing region globally for these systems, by far.
Okay, what are the numbers?
Expected to basically triple in size, from about $144 million in 2021 to around $438 million by 2033.
Triple. Wow.
And the CAGR reflects that,
Okay.
over 10.4% annually.
10% plus. That's incredible growth. Is that widespread?
It seems so. We're seeing double-digit growth reported across Nigeria, South Africa, and the rest of Africa category as well.
What's driving that incredible surge?
It seems directly linked to major infrastructure investments happening across the continent, plus a significant rise in intra-African air travel connecting African countries with each other more effectively.
That kind of rapid development, it's got to be transformative, not just for Africa, but for global travel networks as a whole, right? Integrating a huge, rapidly developing region more seamlessly.
Absolutely. It really underscores the power of investing in this kind of core infrastructure. So, okay, we've toured the globe. What are the big takeaways here? What does this all mean for, for you, the traveler, and just the way things move around the world?
Well, the main takeaway is pretty clear, I think. The whole global baggage handling market is definitely on a strong upward path.
No doubt about that.
And the drivers are clear, too. It boils down to, 1, rising air traffic, more bags to handle. 2, those smart airport developments we talked about, investing in efficiency.
Right, the logistics hub idea.
Exactly. And 3, the deeper and deeper integration of technology. Automation, IoT, AI. These aren't buzzwords. They're becoming essential tools.
So intelligent baggage systems are just going to become even more critical.
Absolutely crucial. As airports keep evolving into these hyper-efficient logistics machines, the systems that handle your bags have to keep pace. They're really at the heart of making sure travel stays relatively smooth and secure for everyone.
So hopefully this deep dive gives everyone listening a better sense of this vital, but yeah, often invisible part of the whole travel experience.
Yeah, it's a complex system most people only think about when something goes wrong, but it's working constantly behind the scenes.
Exactly. So maybe something to think about next time you're flying? Consider that invisible infrastructure working away. And it makes you wonder, what other unsung technological heroes are out there, silently shaping our daily lives, making complex things seem, well, almost effortless?
That's a great thought to leave on. Always more to explore.
Definitely. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep with us.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something most of us never see, but definitely rely on.
That hidden world, right.
Exactly. The baggage handling systems at airports, it's this unseen force, really.
Absolutely. It underpins pretty much everything.
Think about it. Every time your flight connects smoothly, or your bag somehow pops out onto the carousel right on time.
It's all down to this incredibly complex ballet of technology happening behind the scenes.
So our mission today is to dig into how these systems are just, well, essential. Not just for moving bags, but for making the whole passenger experience smoother.
Cutting down wait times, definitely.
Yeah, and making lost luggage, hopefully, a thing of the past, or at least much rarer. We want to unpack the tech that affects your travel, even if you never lay eyes on it.
And it's fascinating how critical this market is. The whole global aviation ecosystem leans on it, especially, with passenger numbers just soaring.
Right, particularly in places like Asia Pacific and the Middle East.
Exactly. That's driving huge growth. There's this massive demand for systems that aren't just fast, but also incredibly accurate.
I always picture these like huge conveyor belts everywhere. But is it just about speed, or is there something more subtle making the difference now? What's really pushing automation forward?
It's a mix, definitely.
Yeah.
But automation is, well, paramount. Airports are investing heavily in things like automated conveyors, sure.
Uh-huh.
But the real game changers are things like RFID tracking. Imagine every bag having its own little digital voice, constantly saying, "I'm here."
Wow. So no more lost, just temporarily misplaced electronically.
Pretty much. It makes finding bags so much easier. And then you have AI-powered sorters. Think of them like super smart traffic controllers for luggage.
Learning as they go.
Exactly. They recognize bags, route them instantly, and actually get faster and smarter over time. It slashes human error and really optimizes the flow for passengers, gives you that peace of mind back.
That is genuinely amazing, your bag being tracked better than your pizza delivery. But, okay, with all this digital tech, does that bring new risks? Like cybersecurity for my suitcase?
You've nailed a key challenge there. Automation is great, but yeah, it introduces hurdles.
Like cost.
Huge capital investment, yes.
And planning.
Yeah.
Integrating these new systems into existing airport infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's like major surgery, well, the patient is wide awake. Very complex.
Right.
And downtime is a big risk. These systems need constant maintenance, often totally invisible to passengers. And yes, cybersecurity and protecting passenger data, those are absolutely major new frontiers we have to manage.
So looking ahead, what's the next big thing? Are we talking about, I don't know, personal drones carrying bags? Or something a bit more realistic?
Maybe not drones just yet. But definitely more IoT sensors, moving beyond barcodes to real-time tracking across the entire journey, globally. A constant data stream.
Okay.
And robotics and AI aren't just for sorting anymore. They're moving into predictive maintenance.
So fixing things before they break. Precisely. The system flags a potential issue, say, a motor nearing the end of its life, so it gets fixed proactively. No unexpected breakdowns, smoother operations.
And sustainability part of this, too?
Oh, absolutely. Big focus there. Things like regenerative braking on conveyors, capturing energy when bags move downhill. It cuts energy use significantly.
Okay, with all this tech and efficiency driving things, it sounds like this market must be, well, enormous. How big are we talking?
It's booming. Seriously. The baggage handling systems market was around $8 billion back in 2021.
Okay.
It's projected to basically double, hitting over $16.7 billion by 2033. That's a growth rate of about 6.3% per year.
Wow.
Asia-Pacific is leading, North
Mhm.
America is strong, Europe's growing, even Africa is seeing real investment tied to infrastructure.
From 8 to nearly $17 billion.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It really shows how digitization, automation, sustainability, they're completely reshaping this whole area.
Exactly, pushing it towards being smarter, much more efficient, and yet genuinely focused on the passenger.
So as we wrap up, something to think about. How might the principles we've talked about here, managing huge volumes precisely, tracking things in real time, balancing speed and security, how might that apply elsewhere?
Good question. You see echoes in logistics, definitely, or smart city development, even how you manage your own data, maybe.
It really is all about those hidden systems, isn't it? The
Yep.
complex networks making things work smoothly, even when you never actually see them.
Exactly. The invisible engines of our modern world.